Hello everyone, welcome to physicatube. In this video I will discuss important MCQs of physics. So अगर आप फिजिक्स के किसी भी कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्ज़ाम की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हो तो वॉच दिस वीडियो टिल एंड, क्योंकि क्वेश्चंस काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है। आप पहले वीडियो को पॉज करके खुद क्वेश्चन ट्राई करना, देन चेक द आंसर कि उसको सॉल्व कैसे करना है क्वेश्चन को। So we start from the first question. The first question is a wave is described by yxt is equal to 0.1 sine 3x plus tan t. The speed of the wave is, so we have to find the speed of wave which is given by this expression. So here we are given a sinusoidal wave. So if the wave is like this, the particles are moving in this direction, and we have to find the velocity with which this wave is moving. And we know that velocity of a wave is given by the formula nu into lambda, where nu is frequency, lambda is the wavelength. Now what we will do, we will divide and multiply by 2 pi. So 2 pi nu over 2 pi and lambda. Now we know that 2 pi nu is the angular frequency omega and 2 pi over lambda is the wave number k. So we will write it as omega over k, because denominator में 2 pi over lambda आ जाएगा. This is wave number. So velocity or speed of the wave is given by omega by k. So the right option is B. Next question is the flux of electrical field. We are given an electrical field through a 2 meter square portion of YZ plane is. We have to find the electric field flux. So here we are given the electric field E, and we have to find the flux of electric field through an area of YZ plane. So if it is a YZ plane, the area vector in this case is in the x direction. So the direction of area vector, which is 2 meter square, is I cap. So A vector is given as 2 I cap here, and we know the formula of flux. The electric flux is given by E dot A. This is the scalar product of electric field and the area. And when we take scalar product of E and A, and the answer is 24 into 2, that is 48 Newton meter square per coulomb. So the correct answer is option D. Next question, in a cyclotron the D is used. So in a cyclotron there are two Ds like this, two semicircular Ds, and this is placed under the effect of magnetic field, and there is small gap between the Ds. So the charged particle is produced in this gap, and then it travels semicircular path in this D under the effect of this magnetic field, and then completes a circle. And so the circular path of the charged particle is because of this magnetic field, and this electric field is present within this gap only, within the gap between the Ds. So these Ds are used in order to shield this charged particle from the electric field. So the charged particle is just produced within this gap, and then it travels the semicircular path under the effect of magnetic field. It means these Ds shield the charge from the electric field within the gap. So that is why the Ds are used for the electric field shielding. Option B is correct. Next question is, for a pure LC circuit the quality factor Q is. The formula of quality factor is the energy stored per cycle divided by energy dissipated per cycle. Now as the circuit is pure LC circuit, it means there is inductor in the circuit and capacitor in the circuit, and the inductor stores the magnetic energy, the capacitor stores the electrical energy. So there is no energy dissipation since there is no resistance in the circuit. We are considering the ideal LC circuit only. So if there is no energy dissipation, means energy dissipation is 0. So denominator is 0. It means quality factor for the pure LC circuit becomes infinite. So the correct option is option B. Next question is the value of del dot r is. So here expression of del is curly over curly x I cap plus curly over curly y j cap and curly over curly z k cap. This is the expression of del vector, and r is the position vector which is x I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap. And when we take the dot product of del and r, we know that dot product of I cap with I cap is 1 and dot product of I with j and k is 0. So we will get only 3 terms when we take del dot r. The first term is curly x over curly x, that is 1, plus second is curly y over curly y, means derivative of this y with respect to this term, then derivative of z with respect to z. So the answer is 1 plus this is 1, 1 and 1. So answer is 3. The correct answer is option C. Next question is the magnitude of z component of orbital angular momentum of an electron in an atom is what multiple of h cut. So there are two type of angular momentums. First is angular momentum L. This angular momentum is given by L into L plus 1 h cut, and when we talk about the z component of angular momentum, it is given by ml h cut. So in this case the multiple of h cut is ml. So here the magnitude of z component is given by option D. Next question is if the magnitude of sum of two vectors is less than the magnitude of either vector, then. So we are given two vectors, let us say vector A and vector B, and we will find the magnitude of the resultant of both the vectors. We know the formula of magnitude of resultant, which is given by r vector, and r vector is equal to square root of a square b square plus 2ab cos theta. 2ab cos theta means we can also write it as 2a vector dot b vector, means it is dot product of both the vectors. Now let us take the theta angle between the vectors is equal to 180 degree. When this angle is 180 degree, cos 180 degree is minus 1, then the resultant will be root a square plus b square minus 2ab, which means the resultant r will be either a minus b whole square or b minus a whole square root, or you can say that resultant is equal to a minus b or b minus a. Now we consider the magnitude of a and b is equal. So if a is equal to b, then the value of magnitude of resultant vector will be 0, and 0 is less than either vector, means 0 is less than a and 0 is also less than b, that the resultant is less than either vector when we consider the angle is 180 degree, means this angle is greater than 90 degree. Or other way we can say that when the dot product or the scalar product of the vectors is negative, because theta is 180 degree, this dot product becomes negative, only then the resultant of the vectors has less magnitude than either of the vectors. So the right option of this question is, so the right answer of this question is option A, scalar product of the vectors must be negative. So इस क्वेश्चन को दूसरे तरीके से पूछ सकते हैं, that magnitude of sum of two vectors is greater than, यहाँ पे less की बजाय greater भी पूछा जा सकता है. So in that case आपका आंसर कौन सा होगा? B. greater than कब होगा? जब आपका जो स्केलर प्रोडक्ट है that is positive. ठीक है, तो दो वे से ये क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. Next question is an example of an inertial reference frame is. So we know that a frame is said to be inertial frame if it is at rest or it is moving with constant velocity. Moving with constant velocity means it has acceleration is equal to 0, means if the frame is not accelerating it is called inertial frame, or we can also say then that when the force acting on the reference frame is 0, because if force is 0, obviously ma is equal to 0, acceleration becomes 0, even then the frame is said to be inertial. So in this case, according to me, option A is also correct, option C is also correct, and option B is also correct. All the options are right except the option D, but the answer that is given of for question 8 is option B, but according to me all the three are correct because they are equivalent. Next question is, a force acting on a particle is conservative if. So from the definition of conservative force we know that a force is said to be conservative if the work done by the force does not depend upon the path traveled. It depends upon the initial and final points only, means the work depends upon the end points of the motion. For example, the gravitational force between earth and any mass is a conservative force. So from the definition of conservative force, option D is correct. Next question is, in a nuclear reaction the total kinetic energy of products is greater than the total initial kinetic energy if. So let us consider a nuclear reaction. A parent nucleus X disintegrates into nucleus Y with some another product. In this case, if we want to find the Q value, which is called disintegration energy, this Q value is equal to mass of X minus mass of Y minus mass of the other product A into C square. So according to Einstein mass energy relation, the difference of mass of the parent nucleus and the daughter nucleus is converted into the Q value, or this is the kinetic energy of the products. So if the parent nucleus is at rest, means initial kinetic energy of the parent nucleus is 0. Then if there is difference of mass between the parent nucleus and the daughter nuclei, then that difference is getting converted into the kinetic energy of these daughter nuclei. And if it has some initial kinetic energy, and even then the kinetic energy of the daughter nucleus is greater than the parent nucleus, means it has gained kinetic energy because of difference of masses of the parent and daughter nuclei. So basically, when the total mass of the products is less than the original total mass, only then that difference of mass appears as kinetic energy. So the correct answer is option B. Next question is, the speed of a comet in an elliptical orbit around the about the sun. So speed जो है comet की about the sun, whether it will decrease or remains constant, or it is greatest when farthest from the sun, or it varies sinusoidally with time. तो आपको यहाँ पे बताना है कि जो comet की speed है about elliptical orbit around the sun वो कैसी होगी. तो अगर comet जो है it is revolving around the sun in an elliptical path, तो हम यहाँ पे पहले क्या लगाएंगे, केपलर सेकेंड लॉ देखेंगे कि अकॉर्डिंग टू जो केपलर का सेकेंड लॉ है, जो एरियल वेलोसिटी है ऑफ एनी प्लैनेट और कॉमेट अराउंड द सन वो कांस्टेंट होती है. अगर मैं यहाँ पे ये एरिया ले लूँ एक, और एक ये एरिया ले लूँ यहाँ पे, सो सपोज दिस एरिया इज़ A1 एंड ये वाला जो एरिया है वो A2 है. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू केपलर सेकेंड लॉ, द एरियल वेलोसिटी that is dA over dt is a constant. अगर ये एरिया वेलोसिटी कांस्टेंट है, इट मीन्स कि जो एरिया A1 है और जो एरिया A2 है जो कॉमेट ने कवर करा है वो इक्वल है, और वी कैन से दैट dA1 over dt is equal to dA2 over dt. सो एरिया वेलोसिटी कांस्टेंट अगर आपकी है, एंड इफ़ वी से दैट कि ये वाला जो डिस्टेंस है जो यहाँ पे कवर करा है कॉमेट में ने दैट इज़ y, और जो ये वाला डिस्टेंस कवर करा है दैट इज़ x. अगर एरिया वेलोसिटी सेम है तो ये डिस्टेंस जो है जितना टाइम इस डिस्टेंस को कवर करने में लगा t ऑफ y मीन्स टाइम टेकन टू कवर डिस्टेंस y, और जितना टाइम x डिस्टेंस को कवर करने में लगा वो इक्वल होगा क्योंकि एरिया वेलोसिटी सेम है. ठीक है, इक्वल इंटरवल्स ऑफ टाइम में इक्वल एरिया कवर करा है। बट आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हो कि जो x है दैट इज़ ग्रेटर देन y, कि ये वाला डिस्टेंस ज़्यादा है। x मीन्स जब जो कॉमेट है सन के क्लोज होगा तब ये डिस्टेंस जो है ये उसने ज़्यादा कवर करा है। ठीक है, अगर ज़्यादा डिस्टेंस कवर करा है उतने ही टाइम में, इट मीन्स कि जब x डिस्टेंस कवर करा होगा तो उस टाइम पे जो कॉमेट की वेलोसिटी होगी दैट विल बी ग्रेटर देन द वेलोसिटी ऑफ कॉमेट व्हेन इट ट्रेवल्स डिस्टेंस y। सो इट मीन्स यहाँ पे वेलोसिटी ज़्यादा है और यहाँ पे वेलोसिटी कम है। इट मीन्स क्या हो गया कि जैसे जैसे कॉमेट आपका इस साइड मूव करेगा, इफ़ इट इज़ मूविंग अवे फ्रॉम सन, ठीक है, और इट इज़ रिसीडिंग फ्रॉम सन, तो इसकी वेलोसिटी जो है वो कम होती जाएगी। ठीक है, तो इसकी स्पीड जो है वो कम होती जाएगी। इट मीन्स कि जो स्पीड ऑफ कॉमेट है इट विल डिक्रीज वाइल इट इज़ रिसीडिंग फ्रॉम सन, क्योंकि जब सन से दूर होगा तो तब इसकी स्पीड जो है वो कम होगी ट्रेवल करने की। ठीक है, तो इट मीन्स जो इसका राइट आंसर है इस क्वेश्चन का दैट इज़ ऑप्शन ए। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज द चेंज इन एंट्रोपी इज ज़ीरो फॉर, option is reversible adiabatic process, reversible isothermal process, then reversible processes during which no work is done, or reversible isobaric process. So first we will write the formula of entropy change. So change in entropy of a system is given by the formula: if there are n moles of a gas, n are log natural V2 over V1 plus NCV log natural T2 by T1. So first we will consider the isothermal process. So if the process is isothermal, we know that in an isothermal process the temperature remains constant. It means we can write that T1 is equal to T2, and when T1 is equal to T2 this becomes log of 1, which is 0. So this term goes, and the entropy change for the isothermal process is equal to nr log of V2 over V1. Means entropy change during the reversible isothermal process is not equal to 0. So it means option B is incorrect. Now we will check for the second case, that is the adiabatic process. So for the adiabatic process the formula is same. We know that for reversible adiabatic process TB power gamma minus 1 is equal to constant, where gamma is ratio of the specific heat Cp over Cv, and if this is constant then we can write T1 V1 power gamma minus 1 is equal to T2 V2 power gamma minus 1. So from here we can find that the ratio of T2 over T1 is equal to V1 over V2 power gamma minus 1. So we will substitute this value in this equation in the second term. So delta S for the adiabatic process will be NR, first term as it is, log of V2 over V1 plus NCV log of V1 over V2 power gamma minus 1. Now we will solve this equation. First term as it is plus the second term is NCV into gamma minus 1. पावर जो है log की वो आगे आ जाएगी। ठीक है, यहाँ से यहाँ आगे उठा के हमने लिख दिया V1 over V2. Now we will substitute value of gamma, that is the first term as it is plus NCV. Gamma is Cp over Cv, so substitute gamma is equal to Cp over Cv and we will take LCM. तो ये आ जाएगी term log of V1 over V2. Now this Cp minus Cv is equal to R, and this Cv is cancelled out and we will get NR log of V1 over V2, and in the first term we have NR log of V2 over V1. तो नेक्स्ट क्या करेंगे, इसको जब उल्टा करेंगे तो पावर क्या बन जाएगी इस टर्म की NR, इसको आप ऐसे भी लिख सकते हो log नेचुरल V2 over V1, एंड पावर आपकी आ जाएगी पहले 1 थी, अब हो जाएगी -1, और ये -1 आगे आ जाएगा तो इसलिए यहाँ से -1 चला जाएगा, ये टर्म माइनस हो जाएगी। और फर्स्ट टर्म आपको पता ही है ऑलरेडी क्या है, NR log ऑफ V2/V1। सो दोनों टर्म सेम हो गई, कैंसिल हो जाएंगी, एंड अगर कैंसिल हो गई दोनों टर्म्स, सो आपकी एंट्रोपी चेंज आ जाएगी 0। So it means for the reversible adiabatic process, the entropy change is 0. So option A is correct in this case. And other way of doing this question is that we know that entropy change, जो दूसरा formula है entropy change का, that is dq/t, and for the adiabatic process, since there is no heat change, dq is 0, so that is why delta S is equal to 0. This is the other way of doing this question. तो दोनों तरीके से डेल्टा एस 0 आ रहा है, सो ऑप्शन ए इसका करेक्ट आंसर है। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज अ साइनोसॉइडल फोर्स with a given amplitude is applied to an oscillator. To maintain the largest amplitude oscillation, the frequency of the applied force should be. So we have to find the frequency of the applied force. So let us consider that a driving force is acting on an oscillator, and जो driving force है that is F is equal to F naught cos omega t. It means कि जो frequency है driving force की that is omega, and we have an oscillator which is oscillating with frequency omega naught. So in this case, for the forced oscillator case, जो आपने BSc में forced oscillator chapter में करा होगा, जो displacement है उसका जो फॉर्मूला है F नॉट ओवर ओमेगा सी एम साइन ओमेगा टी माइनस 5, and from this displacement this part is called the amplitude of the displacement. ठीक है, यहाँ पे हम इसी एम्पलीट्यूड की बात कर रहे हैं। सो आपका जो डिस्प्लेसमेंट का एम्पलीट्यूड है उसको मैंने लिखा A इज इक्वल टू F नॉट ओवर ओमेगा इंटू जी एम, और इसको अगर आप सॉल्व करोगे इसकी वैल्यू सब्स्टिट्यूट करके you will get this value. मैं ज़्यादा डिटेल में नहीं जाऊँगी, यू कैन सी दिस एक्सप्रेशन फ्रॉम योर बुक ऑल्सो, कि इसकी जो वैल्यू आएगी वो आपकी आ जाएगी रूट वेयर R इज़ द डैम्पिंग कांस्टेंट एंड दिस ओमेगा नॉट इज़ द नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ द ऑसिलेटर, दिस ओमेगा इज़ द डिराइविंग फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ द ऑसिलेटर. So here we have to find that when the amplitude is maximum. So you can see that when omega has some value, चाहे ओमेगा की वैल्यू स्मॉल है, ठीक है, चाहे लार्ज है, अगर ओमेगा की कोई वैल्यू है तो ये जो पार्ट है इट विल कंट्रीब्यूट टू द एम्पलीट्यूड. तो ये वाला जो पार्ट है, ठीक है, अगर ओमेगा की कोई वैल्यू है तो डिनोमिनेटर में इस टर्म के साथ ये वाली टर्म ऐड हो रही है. अगर ओमेगा 0 हो जाए उस केस में क्या हो जाएगा, यहाँ पे हम 3 केस डिस्कस कर सकते हैं. व्हेन ओमेगा टेंड्स टू 0, व्हेन ओमेगा इज 0 तो आपके पास एम्पलीट्यूड जो आ जाएगा दैट इज F नॉट ओवर, ये टर्म चली जाएगी ओमेगा वाली, तो आपके पास सिर्फ m स्क्वायर ओमेगा स्क्वायर बचेगा, मीन्स m स्क्वायर ओमेगा स्क्वायर आपके पास डिनोमिनेटर में आ जाएगा. इसको सॉल्व करके m ओमेगा नॉट स्क्वायर, इट मीन्स एम्पलीट्यूड जो है वो सिर्फ नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी पे डिपेंड कर रहा है. सो एम्पलीट्यूड इज इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द ड्राइविंग फोर्स फ्रीक्वेंसी व्हेन द फ्रीक्वेंसी इज वेरी स्मॉल. दिस इज वन केस. ऐसा भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है जिसमें आपको ये चीज़ पूछ ले कि व्हेन द एम्पलीट्यूड इज इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द ड्राइविंग फ्रीक्वेंसी. सो एट वेरी लो फ्रीक्वेंसीज, if the driving force frequency is very low, then amplitude is independent of the driving force frequency. This is one case. Other case is when omega is very large, means omega tends to infinity. तो अगर आपका ओमेगा बहुत ज़्यादा लार्ज हो गया तो डिनोमिनेटर लार्ज हो गया, इन दैट केस द एम्पलीट्यूड विल गो टू 0. तो जो एम्पलीट्यूड है वो बहुत ज़्यादा स्मॉल हो जाएगा, इट विल अप्रोच टू 0 फॉर द हाई फ्रिक्वेंसीज. एंड अगर ओमेगा 0 भी नहीं है, इन्फिनिटी भी नहीं है, इसकी कोई पर्टिकुलर वैल्यू है, इन दैट केस वो इसमें ऐड हो जाएगी डिनोमिनेटर में, तो डिनोमिनेटर लार्ज हो जाएगा तो फिर भी एम्पलीट्यूड स्मॉल ही आएगा. बट फॉर द केस व्हेन ओमेगा इज इक्वल टू ओमेगा नॉट, मींस व्हेन द ड्राइविंग फोर्स फ्रीक्वेंसी इज इक्वल टू नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी, तो उस केस में ये जो सेकंड टर्म है इट विल बिकम 0, एंड जो आपको एम्पलीट्यूड आ जाएगा दैट इज इक्वल टू F नॉट ओवर R इंटू ओमेगा नॉट. सो दिस इज द मैक्सिमम एम्पलीट्यूड, बिकॉज ओमेगा इज इक्वल टू ओमेगा नॉट अगर वैल्यू नहीं है, कोई और वैल्यू है ओमेगा की, तो उस केस में डिनोमिनेटर की हमेशा वैल्यू जो है कुछ ना कुछ रहेगी। इस वाले केस से तो ग्रेटर ही आएगी, ठीक है, डिनोमिनेटर की वैल्यू। तो फिर एम्पलीट्यूड स्मॉल ही होगा। तो जो मैक्सिमम एम्पलीट्यूड है दैट will be for this condition, and this condition is called resonance condition. And so that is why at resonance, or we can say that when the driving force frequency is equal to natural frequency of the oscillator, then the amplitude will be maximum. So the correct answer of this question is option B. Next question is, by the second law of thermodynamics, option is all heat engines have same efficiency, then all reversible heat engines have same efficiency, then C, the efficiency of heat engine is independent of its working substance, and D is the efficiency of ideal engine depends upon the temperature of the reservoirs. So the answer of this question is the option D. According to second law of thermodynamics, the complete conversion of heat into mechanical work is not possible. So the efficiency of any heat engine is not equal to 100%, and this efficiency is given by 1 minus T dash over T, where T dash is the temperature of the sink and T is the temperature of source. So here eta is equal to 1 only when T dash is equal to 0, which is not practically possible. So that is why the efficiency of ideal Carnot engine is always less than 1. Eta is always less than 1. So correct option of this question is option D. Next question is, the equipotential surface associated with an isolated point charge R. So we know that if we have an isolated point charge, it could be a positive charge or a negative charge. Then the field lines for this positive charge, the electric field lines are like this, they are pointing outward, and for the negative charge the electric field lines are like this. So if we talk about the equipotential surface for a isolated point charge, then those surfaces are, for the two-dimensional case, if we see that this is two-dimensional geometry, then we can say that the equipotential surfaces are the concentric circles. But for the three-dimensional case, these circles are actually spheres. So the concentric spheres around the point charge are the equipotential surfaces. So it means the right answer of this question is option D. The concentric spheres centered at the charge, means all the spheres have center at the charge itself. It could be a positive charge or a negative charge. So that is all for this video. Thank you.